Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dustin Saldarriaga, an immigration attorney with Scott Legal PC in New York City. In an earlier video, we talked about the new COVID-19 vaccination requirement for those planning to travel into the United States by air. In addition to the vaccination requirement, the US government also created a new negative test requirement. In this video, we'll focus on the COVID-19 testing requirement for entry into the United States, who it applies to, what the requirement actually is, and what exceptions might apply. Please do keep in mind that this is a very fast-changing topic. In fact, the initial testing requirement that the government announced in November was changed only a few days later due to fears of the Omicron variant. So before you travel, be sure to visit the website for the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, and speak with your airline for the most updated information. As a bit of background, last month the Biden administration replaced the regional COVID-19 travel bans with a broad COVID vaccination and testing requirement. In an earlier video that we'll link to below, we discussed the details of the vaccination requirement, which in general requires that everyone who's over 18 years old and is traveling to the US on a temporary non-immigrant visa be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. In addition to the vaccination requirement, though, there's also a testing requirement, and it applies to far more people than the vaccination requirement does. Specifically, starting on December 6th, 2021, everyone traveling internationally into the US who is 2 years old or older must provide a negative COVID test result taken no more than 1 day before travel. Now, unlike the vaccination requirement, this applies to everyone traveling into the US by air, including US citizens and green card holders, and like the vaccination requirement, those who are traveling on temporary visas. And it applies regardless of whether the traveler is fully vaccinated or not. You might have heard that tests taken 3 days before travel are accepted. That was true for a few days in November until fears about the Omicron variant grew. As a result, as of December 6, 2021, the negative COVID test result must have been taken no more than 1 day before travel. Now, the new testing requirement applies only to international air travel. So, if you're traveling domestically from one state to another, or if you're entering the US by land, the testing requirement does not apply. Instead, those traveling domestically within the US or entering by land will want to check with their airline or the port of entry to confirm what requirements apply. So, what types of tests are acceptable, and do they include rapid or at-home tests? Fortunately, some rapid and at-home tests are accepted. For full details, we do recommend that you visit the CDC's website on testing requirements, and we'll include a link below. For those who are fully vaccinated but have a child who is not, does the child need to take a test 1 day before traveling? The answer to this question is yes. All individuals who are 2 years old or older and are traveling internationally into the US must provide a negative COVID test result taken no more than 1 day before travel. Remember that this applies to US citizens, green card holders, and temporary visitors. Do those whose flight is only connecting to the US need to get tested even if they will not leave the airport? This is a common question we receive, and the answer is yes. The testing requirement applies even when an individual is simply entering the US for a connecting flight. So, are there any exceptions to the testing requirement? Individuals under 2 years old do not need to provide a negative COVID test. Other exceptions may be granted only in extremely limited circumstances. The CDC has stated that such circumstances may include life and death situations, including those in which emergency travel must occur to preserve someone's life, health against a serious danger, or physical safety, and testing cannot be completed before travel. Finally, as mentioned before, the testing requirement does not currently apply to those entering the US by land. However, it is always a good idea to call your port of entry ahead of time just to make sure. We hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please click the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below to stay updated on future videos about visa options and travel to the US. Thanks for watching.